All right, everybody. NFL schedule release day is here. We now know the order in which the Steelers will be playing their games this year, and we'll go over it today on Black and Gold Breakdown. Welcome in. Jerry Bailey with you as always. Make sure you do all that YouTube stuff, like, subscribe. Appreciate everybody already tuning in. How's it going? So yeah, 1 through 18 in terms of the weeks, we know what's going to be going down for Pittsburgh. So, and I'm sure most of you have already seen this. Tomorrow I'll be doing game by game predictions. So I'm writing that up tonight. And then tomorrow's video, I'll go over them. So right now we're just going to kind of talk about what the schedule looks like. I'm going to try to keep this one shorter tonight, probably like a half hour, because I've got a long night ahead of me work wise. But yeah, already seen some folks. Brutal back half. Yeah, the back half is that's one of the more interesting nuggets of this. The Steelers don't play a divisional game this year until week 11 against Baltimore. And then once we get to week 11, 6 of their final 8 games are within the division. So week 11 through 18 is Baltimore at Cleveland on Thursday night, at Cincinnati, Cleveland, at Philadelphia, at Baltimore, Kansas City on Christmas, and then the Bengals to close out the year. So, yeah, I mean, back half is going to be filled with divisional games. All of their divisional games are in the final half of the year. So, when it comes to the division, Cincinnati's the team I'm most worried about. Yeah, the Steelers beat them twice last year, but obviously they didn't have Joe Burrow in either game. So I'm paying attention to that. I wouldn't shock me if the Bengals win both games. Baltimore wouldn't surprise me if the Steelers win both games. The Steelers have Lamar Jackson's number. He never plays well against them. So I'm not too worried about Baltimore. Cleveland, they tend to go back and forth, where the past few years it seems to be like they split the series. But if they can go, if they can go 3-3 in the division, that's good. If they can go 4-2 in the division, that's great. That means they swept somebody. So I think that a sweep of the Ravens is certainly possible. I think a sweep of the Browns is certainly possible. Don't think they're sweeping the Bengals. I think they'll be lucky to get one over Cincinnati. In terms of the first month, at Atlanta, at Denver, home for the Chargers in the home opener week 3, and then on the road again against the Colts, playing in Indianapolis for the 3rd consecutive year. Prior to last year, the Steelers hadn't lost to the Colts since 2008. So they really owned that series against Indianapolis. Yeah, in terms of the first 4 games, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I think that the Falcons are going to be a good team, but I think it benefits the Steelers a lot playing them week 1, where they haven't had any sort of time in the regular season to gel, to get some stuff down. So I think that that's a game that they should win. I think I'm probably going to predict them to win that game. A 2-0 start is really realistic here. Atlanta is, like I said, going to be a tough team. Excuse me. But again, not having it's much different playing them in week 1 than it would be playing them in week 12. So I think getting them right off the bat is beneficial for Pittsburgh, because I think they're going to be a good team, but they don't have any of that time to get that chemistry down with a new quarterback who's in a new-ish offense. It's going to be a lot of similar stuff that he had under Kevin O'Connell. But getting them week 1 is definitely a good spot to get them. And then playing in Denver, I think the Broncos are going to be a bottom 5 team in football next year. So worst case scenario, a 1-1 start. I think it'll be a 2-0 start. I think that they'll lose to the Chargers, if I had to guess. And then Indianapolis isn't going to be a walk in the park, especially if Anthony Richardson looks as dynamic as he did in the first month of last season before getting hurt. So if they can start off 3-1, that's awesome. If they start off 2-2, not the worst thing possible. Then they have Dallas. That's a game that I think they they should win. Dak Prescott's good. CeeDee Lamb's good. And Michael Parsons is good. Outside of that, there isn't anything on that roster that horrifies you. I think that they'll beat Dallas. And then they travel to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, a game that they should win as well, before hosting the Jets on Sunday Night Football in their second primetime game, because they also play Dallas on Sunday Night Football. So they'll have 2 Sunday night games in 3 weeks. And from weeks 4 to 8, they'll have 3 primetime games, because after the Jets, they play the Giants on Monday night. So weeks 5 through 8, Dallas on Sunday night, the Raiders at 4:05, at the Jets on Sunday night, at the Giants on Monday night. So a lot of primetime games in that span. And then they have their bye week 9. And then they come off that. They play the Commanders, and then they open up division play in Baltimore. So, if they can get to the bye week at 5-3, they're in pretty good shape, especially coming off the bye to play a Commanders team who's going to have a rookie quarterback. 6-3 in their first 9 games is certainly in the realm of possibility. And then if they can be 6-3 and then play Baltimore, like even if they drop that first game to Baltimore, they're still in okay shape. But if you can be 7-3 after 10 games, man, they are sitting pretty. Because that is, it's a rougher back half. But again, if you're 7-3, that buys you the ability to, if you drop a game, it's not going to kill you. So it's important that they start off fast and make sure that they take care of business. What's the classic Tomlin loss game on the schedule? Lose to a team that they should beat. I'm going to address this real quick. Every team in the NFL loses a game to a team that they're better than. Happens every year to every team at least once. That's why they play the games. Like the Chiefs 2 years ago lost to the Colts, and then the Colts fired Frank Reich, hired Jeff Saturday, who's never coached a day in his life. Like the Chiefs lost to that team. When the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, they lost to the Jets, who were playing their fourth quarterback. Like stuff happens. So it's not just the Steelers. It's every team in the NFL where doesn't matter how good you are, you're gonna lose a game that you probably shouldn't lose. That's football. Any given Sunday. So in terms of the Steelers game, that there's not many of those on the schedule this year, really. Like they don't have much cupcake teams. The only Denver would be a good potential one to circle, but I don't think they lose to Denver. Maybe the Giants, but I think the Giants are going to be bad too. Washington, I think Washington's probably the best bet because I think they have the best roster out of the quote unquote bad teams. So I could see them losing to Washington. In Washington, I think that's possible. So if I had to guess, that would be my guess, would be Washington. I think the Giants are just too bad. I think that maybe the Raiders historically, give the Steelers fits. I know the Steelers have won the last 2, but historically from 2000 on, the Raiders have had their number, or from 2006 on. So the Raiders could be that team. I think the Raiders or the Commanders will be the game that, even against Las Vegas, I'm not going to go into any game really okay, they're going to absolutely win this game. I'm pretty confident they'll beat Denver. I'm pretty confident that they'll beat the Giants and beat the Commanders. But I'm pretty confident they'll beat Baltimore at least once. But there's no game. Again, that all comes with it comes back to the quarterback stuff. Steelers don't have a quarterback where I'm okay, they have this guy, that they'll have a chance of winning every game. They don't have a Mahomes, they don't have a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow or a Herbert. So every game's kind of a toss-up to some degree. But the Raiders and Commanders would be the ones that I would watch for the game that kind of gets away. Saw a few more comments up here, so I'll try to highlight this. Arthur Smith, 3, but yeah, no, they're kicking off with 2 straight revenge games. They're kicking off with the Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson, revenge games, if you will. NFL hates the Steelers. Always give us some cupcakes and then the division all at once. Not really. I mean, it's very rare that they don't play a division game until week 11. Last year they played the Ravens in week 5. They played the Browns in week 2. This is a pretty rare scheduling type thing that doesn't happen too often. Are there other teams in the NFL whose scheduling of home openers impacted by the baseball team? I do not know, honestly. I only know that it impacts Pittsburgh because they share parking with the Pirates. So that's why that tends to be a bit of a problem. I don't know if there's any other team that does that. If there's teams that start the season off on the road twice in a row, those are usually the ones that have some sort of outside impact or some scheduling conflict. But I'd have to look, but I personally don't know. I assume the Raiders used to when they were still in Oakland because they shared a stadium with the A's. So I assume that was a problem at one point, but obviously they don't have to worry about it now. I don't think so. Yeah, because I don't think that the Philly stadium impacts what the Eagles do. Don't think Camden Yards impacts the Ravens. So I don't know. I would have to look. Obviously, the A's and the Raiders when they were both in Oakland, but I'm not sure about what the rest of the league looks like. 2018 Raiders game was an easy win until Ben got hurt and Dobbs went in. That game is why Dobbs is not in Pittsburgh. That game was very annoying, and they still had a chance to win it at the end because they ran like they threw past James Washington, and he did like a pitch to Juju Smith-Schuster. They got him in field goal range. They could have either tied the game or won it on a game-winning field goal, and then Boswell slipped in the dirt, and that's how the game ended. That game was very annoying. But just to run through the entire schedule right now, from week 1 to 18, at Atlanta, at Denver, Chargers, at the Colts, Cowboys, at Raiders, Jets, Giants, bye week, at Commanders, Ravens, at Browns, at Bengals, Browns, at Eagles, at Ravens, Chiefs on Christmas, and then finishing off the year against the Bengals. So it's nice that they have a 2-game homestand to finish off the year. That's nice. So I mean, last year it was the opposite where they had their home finale in week 16, and then week 17 and 18 they were on the road. So a little bit of a flip this year where they're on the road week 16 and then home for week 17 and 18, which it's good to see. And like I said, tomorrow I'll be doing game by game predictions. I'm doing the write up for that tonight. And then tomorrow we'll come on the channel and then I'll break it down for everybody. So yeah, like I said, got a long night ahead of me predicting the result of every game, going team by team to do it. So I'll be up late. I'll be making some coffee, turning on some Seinfeld for some good background noise. But it's one of my favorite things to do of the year is my first iteration of these. So it's fun. Got some more comments coming in. As of May 15th, I'm looking at a 7-2 start. Hope for a 4-4 finish. Look, man, if they can go 11-6, it's pretty damn solid. Worst case scenario, they're probably the 6th seed in that case because the AFC is going to be pretty deep, but they'd be the 5 or the 6th seed. I still think that the Bengals are going to win the division with probably around 12 wins. But yeah, if you can be the 5 seed, especially depending on like what the other divisions look like, the Chiefs are going to be the 1 or the 2. I think the Bengals and Bills are going to be right there. So you're probably going to face the winner of the AFC South, maybe the AFC East, depending on the Bills. But I think the Bills are still going to be good. But let's say that, they play Houston in the divisional round. That's not a matchup I love. But if they draw, say, Jacksonville, like I love Trevor Lawrence, but I'd much rather play Jacksonville in the wild card round than Houston. So it all depends on who they draw in that situation, how I'd feel in the playoffs. But that's pretty far away. So the Steelers will have 4 to 5 home games in a row to finish. Not in a row. They have 3 of their last 5 are at home. So the Browns are at home, and then they go on the road for the Eagles and the Ravens, and then they finish off at home with the Chiefs and Bengals. So they'll have 2 straight to finish off at home. Injury situation of Steelers and opponents going to be critical in that season-ending stretch. Yeah, obviously, it's easy to predict games in May. But like once you get into, October, November, December, obviously there's going to be attrition. There's going to be some guys who are playing, some guys who aren't, very much you just hope that all of your best guys are healthy. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. More often than not, in situations like this where, it's coin flip games, it's okay. Who's healthier? Whose guys are, more capable of making big plays? Who has more capable players out there? So keep an eye on that. 45 home games, including 2. Yeah. No, I don't foresee that happening. I'm a fan, but realistic at the end of the day. On average, there are 6 teams that make the playoffs that didn't the year before. Yeah, every year since 1990, at least 4 new teams have come in from the playoffs from the previous year that weren't in the year before. So it's at least 4 new every year. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Yeah, I think that obviously I have to do my game-by-game picks to know, but if I had to think off the top of my head, Atlanta, Cincinnati would be 2 of mine. The Jets probably. I don't know about Arizona. I think they're still a year away. They're still a really young defensive team that has a lot of holes on that side of the ball. Who didn't make it in last year from the NFC that I really like? Let's go division by division. I think Chicago has a chance. I think that who's in the NFC South? Yeah, I already talked about Atlanta. NFC West. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna have to gonna do my game by game picks. I think Jacksonville will be in the mix. Tennessee, depending on how good Will Levis is, there's a lot of things that will, a lot of certain dominoes that'll have to fall. The Chargers will be in the mix probably. Harbaugh's a better coach, but I don't know how I feel about their offensive coordinator. Indianapolis will be in the mix. So there's going to be a lot of teams that, especially in the AFC, because it's just so stacked compared to the NFC. So it'll be a lot of teams vying for spots. Read a few articles where they placed the Steelers last in the AFC North. Why the hate? They do this every year. National people who don't pay close attention to the Steelers. Like the Steelers haven't finished last in the AFC North since it was the AFC Central in 1988. The last time they finished dead last in the division. And we do this we do this every year. The Steelers finish 9-8, 10-7, or they have like a great year. It doesn't matter. But they finish above 500 to some degree. The offseason comes around, and then we get to this point. Everybody's like, I think the Steelers are finally going to fall off. And then the cycle repeats. It like clockwork. So I'm not worried about, when it comes to Pittsburgh finishing last in the division until it happens. I'm just going to assume it won't happen. Especially because they've been in situations where it was much more plausible that they would finish last than this year. They won 10 games a year ago with a worse quarterback, a worse offensive coordinator, a defense that wasn't as good on paper as it is right now, a worse offensive line. They upgraded all over the football field except at receiver where they traded away Deontay Johnson. But even then, they'll be fine. I think they'll still be a 9-10 win team. That's maybe 11 wins. If not in the playoffs, then they're right on the outside looking in. They're not going to be last in the AFC North. Just don't see it happening. Do you plan to attend any games this year? Maybe one of the primetime ones. I think the Monday night game would probably be the one that I'm circling because I've got a lot of different responsibilities outside of just Steelers coverage. I do power rankings for USA Today, so I got to make sure that those are in and ready to go at ASAP. So I'm also just not a big game guy. I much prefer just being at home rather than being in the press box. So if it's like I said, if it's like a standalone game like a Thursday or a Monday, then maybe. But I'm not a big go to game guy, if I'm perfectly honest. Yeah, would much rather just do it at home, get all my stuff done, not have to worry about, where, getting to the stadium, getting back from the stadium. Like I much prefer just chilling at home. Now, for off-season stuff, like I love going to training camp. That's always a blast. I'll be at a couple days of OTAs and a couple days of mini camp. That stuff's always fun. But game-wise, like I'm very much like I'll sit at home. I think it's just I just enjoy it more rather than being at the games, if I'm perfectly honest. So we'll see. We'll see. Steelers have been mediocre lately with the home field advantage. I'd have to look at their home record as of late, but yeah, it's not really all that moving for sure. But yeah, again, a lot of factors play into that. They had horrible quarterback, horrible offensive coordinator, bad offensive line. They've improved all over the field, so I'm excited. Denver nosebleed seats start at $1,000. That would be an amazing game to be at, but yeah, that's absurd. That's another thing. Like if you're a fan trying to go to a game, I mean, it is expensive. I don't know how NFL stadiums are always packed because it's expensive. Like that's always blown my mind a little bit. 12-5, 4-2 in the division. I love the optimism, Rob. Before going through, I'm sitting around 10-7, 11-6 at best. But love the optimism. And again, I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter than usual because I've got a lot of different write-ups that I got to do tonight. So it's going to be a long night for me. So stay on for about 10 more minutes and talk about it. But tomorrow, I'll go through my game-by-game predictions, tell you where I think they'll finish in the division. If they get into the playoffs in my predictions, I'll tell you how far I have them going. And we can have a chat about that. But again, this is one of my favorite days of the calendar is doing the game-by-game picks once the schedule's released. It's so fun to do. I love doing it. So, but yeah, if you have any more comments, be sure to, absolutely drop them in the chat, of course. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do that. If you love all the Steelers content, if you love the NFL content, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you want to become a Pump Fake Plus member to get extra perks in terms of being able to submit your questions to be asked to other media when they come on the show, whether it's this show or the Pump Fake, or if you want to submit questions to players whenever they are on, you become a Pump Fake Plus member. Just wanted to shout out Justin Weimer, who is a Pump Fake Plus member. $2.99 a month. It's the cheapest one I can make. So if you want those types of perks, absolutely, you can do that. Canceled my trips to Atlanta and Indy this year. Just hard to justify the cost. $1,500 to go to each, plus missing a day of work for each. Yeah, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, totally get that. I don't know how people do it. That's crazy. Yeah. Now, as a fan, I've only ever been to one game. Man, I didn't pay for it. So, yeah. I was just never a big go-to game guy. Really still haven't. Like, I understand the lore of it. But I've always just been somebody that I want to watch as much games as I can or take as much games as I can. So I've got a lot of screens going at once. I got one game on one TV, another game on another that I'm like the two games that I'm paying the most attention to. And then I got Red Zone on a third. So yeah, Sundays are busy for me. Steelers schedule I'm going 9-0 through week 11. Let's slow down a little bit. Wow. No, they don't have the quarterback for that, respectfully speaking. Like, if they had, a stud at quarterback, then maybe. But I don't feel comfortable putting anybody in that type of conversation if you don't have, a Brady, a Manning, a Ben type of guy, or in this case, a Mahomes, a Burrow, an Allen. No, I think that if they can get to the bye at 6-3, which I think is very possible, I think the three games I probably have them losing would be to the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Jets, all of which are home games. That sucks. Oh, no, I said they were going to beat Dallas. I lied. I'm sorry. No, I think The Chargers and the Colts are two. I could see them starting off 2-0 and then falling to 2-2 because I think the Colts are going to be good. But the Chargers, the Colts, and the Jets are the three that I'm paying attention to. But even then, coming off the bye at 6-3, that's a good spot to be in. Good spot to be in. And especially if you're coming off the bye at 6-3 and facing a Commanders team who you're better than in a game that you should win, a chance to get to 7-3, that would be awesome. That'd be great. So we'll see. They're not losing to the Chargers. Hey, man, Harbaugh's a great coach. Herbert's a great quarterback. I'm not going to say that they're definitely going to beat the Chargers. So, no. When you have such a, leg up when it comes to the quarterback position, I have my faults with the Chargers for sure. Like I don't know how much I like Greg Roman being the offensive coordinator, but I've also drank the Chargers Kool-Aid the past few years. So the first year that I finally don't is probably the year that they'll be good. So we'll see. Colts unlikely also, though, torment Richardson if he can stay healthy. Their offensive line will be better, and Richardson is a unicorn. The Colts were a throw away from making it to the playoffs last year with Gardner Minshew. Like, that's a good team. That's a team that got better in the offseason. The Colts are going to be good. Colts are going to be good. I love Anthony Richardson. I think he's going to be a stud. The upside is just way too high. They're going to be good. They got the right coach in Shane Steichen. Got a good defense that has a lot of young guys, but a lot of veteran presence in the front seven. But no, I think the Colts are going to be really good. So I think the Texans probably win that division, but that's a 3-horse race in the AFC South. That's a loaded division. You want to talk about the AFC North? The AFC South is equally as loaded. Probably a little bit more loaded because they got 2 top 10 quarterbacks. Well, I guess the Bengals and Ravens each have 1 too. I don't know. I think the AFC South might be a little bit better than the AFC North. But just my thoughts. But yeah, I think one way or the other, like if they can, I think 6-3 is the record I keep coming to. Like if you can get to the bye, maybe 5-4 too. Like if they're 5-4 at the bye, I'm not gonna be angry. If they're 4-5, then you really got a hole that you got to dig yourself out of. But if they can be 5-4 at the bye, that's good because then you come off. You should be able to beat Washington. I think that they'll win at least 1 against Baltimore. I think they'll win at least 1 against Cleveland. So that gets you to 8 wins. And then you got to take care of business and win 1 game against Cincinnati or the second game against Baltimore, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and then maybe beat Cleveland. But if they can sweep the Browns, which I think is possible, if they can sweep the Ravens, which I think is possible, they're in great shape. Don't think they're going to sweep the Bengals. Wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals swept them. The Bengals are just better, man. Like that's just what it comes down to. The Bengals have the ability to just slice and dice you over the top. That's fine if you can run, man. But eventually, like in close games, you got to make some throws. And I know that they got the quarterback to do it. Don't know if Pittsburgh does. I'd like to think that they might, but until proven, AFC North is the best division in the league. I mean, yeah, I think the AFC is very, very close. And I would certainly listen to an argument that it's the better division. The Titans are kind of the wild card that would make it the better division. It depends on what the Browns look like and it depends on what the Titans look like to be able to say which one is truly better. But top 3 teams, the Texans, Jaguars, Colts all have very fun, good, exciting quarterbacks. AFC North, they've got 2 really good quarterbacks with Lamar and Burrow. We'll see with the Steelers and Deshaun Watson's horrible. So we'll see. Burrow's injury prone every year. And look, man, tired of this argument too. Like a lot of the stuff's out of his control. It's not like he's going out of his way to get hurt. It's freak things happen. It's football. I think Burrow will be fine. If the Steelers unfortunately have to play him twice, I don't foresee that ending great for them. CJ Stroud said himself that the AFC North was the best. CJ Stroud's the man. Yes, because him and Micah Parsons did a bunch of like content together, and it was proven that Micah Parsons might be the dumbest player in football. No, CJ Stroud's that dude. I love CJ Stroud. But yeah, I think the AFC has the two best divisions of football though, with the AFC North and the AFC South. Both of them are great. Both of them are great. More allegations. Undercover Bengals fan. Nobody's scared of Burrow. Look, a guy that gets to consecutive AFC championship games, gets to a Super Bowl, like he has much more to flex than the other 29 other starting quarterbacks, really 30 other starting quarterbacks. Because I love Josh Allen, but like, and I think Josh Allen's better than Joe Burrow, but he can say a few things that Josh Allen can't. So, no, I think that at worst, he's the third best quarterback in football. At best, he's number 2. He's awesome. Need another wide receiver. Man, I'm so tired of talking about goddamn wide receivers. We know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Wait another 2 weeks or so. We're halfway through May. No, I don't think that, if they can get somebody, I don't think it's going to be any of the 49ers guys. I think they're really running it back. It's either going to be Courtland Sutton, who I still think is the most likely option. DK Metcalf, maybe. But I think that Courtland Sutton and Treylon Burks are the two most likely options. That'll be the other boundary receiver. Back in the 80s, I loved Friday. I'd buy my USA Today Weekend Edition and play parlay tickets. Good memories. Very happy to be employed by the lovely people at USA Today Sports Media Group. It's been very good. And again, doing tonight, predicting every game. It's going to be a long night. Thankfully, there's a great site where you can do it too. Go to Playoff Predictors, and has every game every week. It's a great tool. It's awesome to use. It's very fun. That's what I do it on. And I do 2 issues of it. I do it when the schedule comes out, and then the week of week 1. So like the Tuesday before week 1. So I love doing it. It's very fun. Very thankful to USA Today Sports Media Group for employing me. Spice just juicing me up. Steelers quarterback uncertainty is why Vegas had them at 500. The schedule won't move it much either. And I get it to some degree. Like, I think they had their win total at 7.5. Mike Clay of ESPN had them going 8-9. I just don't see them being worse record-wise than last year when they've upgraded all over the field. Just don't see it happening. Why are the Christmas games being streamed on Netflix? Because Netflix gave the NFL a lot of money to do it. It's basically what it comes down to. That's another thing. Like, people are complaining about, oh my goodness, you have to have so many streaming services. Well, guess what? You're still going to pay to watch it. The NFL doesn't care if your money's happy or pissed off. It's still money to them. The NFL knows that it can do whatever the hell it wants. And whether that's right or wrong, it's what it is. Now, the good thing is that that's 99% of people already have Netflix, so it's not that big a deal. But I understand people are like, okay, we don't need a Peacock exclusive game. I agree. We don't need, what else are they doing? They did another exclusive thing once. Oh, the ESPN Plus exclusive games. I think that's stupid too. Doesn't go off against the Steelers. In 2022 game he did. In the second game, they put up 37 on him. The other games, I mean, he was a rookie the first year. 2020 was his rookie year, and they were just bad. And then the following, oh my God, yes, they did. 2021, they beat the piss out of the Steelers. At home. Hold on. I'm finding this because now I'm curious what the score was. It was a blowout. 2021 Bengals Steelers. I'm finding the score. I'm bringing up receipts. Yeah, they beat them 41-10, and then 24-10, or 24-10 the first time, then 41-10 the second time. What Joey B put up that game? 2024 buck 90. T. Higgins had 114 yards on it. Oh yeah, who the hell did T. Higgins just destroy that game? It was 2021. Who was the outside corner that game? That's gonna really bother me. I think Steven Nelson was already gone. Who the hell would that have been? Oh God, it was James Pierre. Yeah. Because Jamar Chase, I think, did something that game too. No, that was the year before. I think it was James Pierre on the outside, though, for whatever reason that game. You were alive in the 80s? I wasn't. Rob was, apparently. Good for Rob. No, I was not alive in the 80s. I was born in 98. Burrow beat Mahomes in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, Burrow and Brady, the only two to do it. Pain in the butt. Looking like, if not DK or Sutton, like it's Burks. Yeah, I would take Burks over Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a million years old. I don't need Robert Woods. I would rather Traylon Burks because he's young and the upside's there. I don't need it. Home games before week 8 bye is nice, but hard schedule everywhere else. I mean, look, they always play the division tough. I'm not worried about the Ravens. You know, they've won 7 of the last 8 against the Ravens. Not worried. They'll win at least one of those. They'll win at least one of the games against Cleveland. No, I'm not worried about I think the Bengals will beat them twice. But I think there's a realistic chance they go 4-2 in the division, sweep Cleveland and Baltimore, but get swept by the Bengals. I think that's certainly possible. Even if they go 3-3 in the division, that's fine. That's fine. If they can steal a win for the Bengals, awesome. But no, I'm not too worried about Baltimore or Cincinnati or Cleveland. I think Cincinnati wins that division. Oh yeah, obviously Prime Video. I'm an idiot. Yeah. I wonder what they're gonna do when Al Michaels eventually calls it a career. Oh, that's right. Was it Akello? I thought Akello came in. No, you might be right. It might have been Akello Weatherspoon. He was 2022 in week 1 when Jamar Chase just ate him alive for an afternoon. I know Burrow threw 4 picks that game. Akello Weatherspoon was so bad. Oh, he was bad. The Steelers have just they've tried. They've tried to find different veteran guys to bring in and be like, okay, maybe he'll be good. Yeah, hasn't worked. Hopefully Dante Jackson will be different. He's certainly faster than anything that they had last year with Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson. Yeah. Yes, he was. And then lo and behold, he goes to the Rams like Kevin Dotson and then has actually a productive year. By the way, another thing to touch on, Cam Hayward is reportedly not going to OTAs because he wants a contract extension. So there's that. I know a lot of people are really into Cam Hayward. I don't dislike him, but I'm very indifferent about Cam Hayward. They'll probably extend him, but if they don't, I'm not gonna shed a tear over it. I like him, but he's 35. You cannot pay him big money. Can't do it. This is the last year on his deal. I could see maybe a 2-year extension with the second year being a void year, but this is a different regime, man. I don't think Omar's just going to be like, well, you've been here for a long time, so we'll pay you. This ain't Kevin Colbert. I could definitely see. And by the way, I think it would be good if Cam Hayward gets a chance to win a ring. If he goes somewhere and he signs, say he signs with Buffalo next year, I'm not going to be mad at Cam Hayward. Good for him. If he signs with Kansas City, good for him. Chase that ring, big fella. If he signs, Jacksonville, one of these teams, Oh, I get it. Yeah, I'm not putting any heat on him. Like, I get it. Get your money if you can. Little difference between Cam and TJ Watt is, TJ was in the very prime of his career wanting an extension. Cam Hayward is very much in the final years of his career wanting an extension. So there's a big difference there. So I think that they'll probably extend him. I don't think it'll be a huge money deal because I don't think anybody's going to give him huge money because he's 35. So if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, Keanu Benton, gonna need some big stuff from you. Logan Lee, hopefully you turn out good, dude. But whatever happens, no heat on Cam Hayward from me. Like I said, I'm indifferent about if he leaves or goes. I like him. Not like one of my 10 favorite Steelers ever. Probably not even like one of my 20 favorite Steelers ever if I'm thinking about it. But yeah, been a reliable leader for the team for a long time. He'll continue being that this season. We'll see if an extension gets done. It'll be weird if both he and Najee both leave in the same offseason. That would be odd. It's possible, but it would be weird. But that's just something to monitor. I think it'll get done though. I think that he'll retire a Steeler if I had to guess. And if he doesn't, it'll be a 1-year thing where he, signs on with a contender, tries to win a ring, and be a real contributor for a Super Bowl team. But if you haven't seen the entire Steelers schedule yet, we'll run through it one more time. From 1 through 18, from weeks 1 through 18, here we go. At the Falcons, at the Broncos, Chargers, at the Colts, Cowboys, at Raiders, Jets, Giants, bye week. Then after the bye week, at Commanders, Ravens, at Browns on Thursday night, at Bengals, Browns, at Eagles, at Ravens, hosting the Chiefs on Christmas, and then wrapping up with the Bengals. Somebody asked me today, they're like, wouldn't it be crazy if like Jalen Hurts gets hurt like week 14 and Kenny Pickett plays in the game against the Eagles? And I was like, look, man, I will never root for an injury for anybody. But if like Jalen Hurts could just have like a sore shoulder in week 15, sore enough to hold him out, that would be hilarious. I would love nothing more than to watch TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig throw Kenny Pickett around like a ragdoll for 3 hours. That would make me laugh hysterically. So, I'm not going to root for an injury. But if Jalen Hurts is like, look, man, especially if the Eagles are good, like if they can afford to just be like, okay, yeah, rest him for the game. We're 11-1. Just throw Kenny Pickett in there. Oh, that's funny. Does the bye line up with only a 6th-round pick to the Bears if Fields starts thereafter? I think it goes off of like percentage of snaps. Like if he plays X amount of snaps, then the 6th becomes a 4th. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters about the bye week. It'll be based on playing time and snap count would be my guess. I don't know the exact parameters of it, but my guess is like maybe how many games he starts or how many snaps he plays. That would be my guess. So not exactly sure what the parameters for the 6th to become a 4th would be. I assume once we get close to like the off season, we might find out. It might have already been said, and I just don't know. But I don't think that's been made public yet. How pissed would you be if Dan Moore is the Steelers starting right tackle? He will not be. I mean, for this hypothetical, yes, I'd be very angry, but he's not going to be. They're going to put Fatanu over there. Broderick at left. So But yes, I would be very angry. Very, very angry. March down to the south side myself, and I will start a picket line. Just protesting. But all right. Probably going to wrap it up there for the night. Because like I said, I got a lot to do tonight. Tomorrow, game by game predictions. I'll tell you where I have them finishing in the division, what games I have them winning, losing, all that. Tell me where you agree, disagree. I'll go over the AFC standings as well. If you want me to talk about the NFC, I'll talk about the NFC a little bit too. But yeah, game by game predictions for the Steelers will obviously be the main focus for this show. On the pump fake, I'll go more in depth for other teams. Figure out who I do that with. Might be JP Acosta, might be Matt Verderam. Started my division previews, so we'll do one of those a week. This past week, me and my friend Taylor Kiles, who covers the Patriots for Patriots Daily, talked about the AFC East. So if you want more football content from me, it's on the channel, or you can listen to the Pump Fake wherever you get your podcasts. So go and listen, watch, do all that fun stuff with that. And then, yeah, tomorrow, game by game predictions. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do that. Like this video, watch other videos, tell your friends to subscribe. We're getting close to 1,000. Getting close to, what's the number? Here, I'll pull up the number right now. Oop. The number right now is 838. So 162 away. When I started doing this around draft time, less than a month ago, I had like 500. So yeah, it's nice to see the growth, you know, just starting to do all this YouTube stuff. So I appreciate everybody for being here. And then, yeah, tomorrow, game by game picks. So be here tomorrow, again, between 7:30 and 8, somewhere in that little threshold. At least it should be. They're doing something with my internet tomorrow at some point. So if something happens, then we'll reschedule. But should be good to go. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. Enjoy the night. And we'll talk game by game picks tomorrow. See you then.